always fooling around with that. This is a 1963 Martin D-21. And D-21s, I love D-21s. I have a very soft spot for D-21s because the guitar that opened new doors for me was a 1965 D-21. It's on my channel. It was owned by the cowboy poet Buck Ramsey, who is a good family friend of ours. And he lent that guitar to me, loaned the guitar, lend. I had his guitar for 2 years. And I was at his house one day and playing, and he said, here, take that guitar home. So I left him my D-28, my 73 D-28. Anyway, immediately on that guitar, and I mean immediately that night, I was playing faster, cleaner, and better than I had ever played in my life, to the point where people noticed it. And so that was a guitar that showed me that sometimes it is not the player. Sometimes it is, in fact, the guitar that's holding you back. Because I certainly didn't get better overnight. What was better was the setup and the playability of it, which I had no idea at that time what those things that a guitar, I had no idea that a guitar could be made to play good. I thought it was just some magical thing. And it's really not. Any guitar can be made to play good. But that D-21 showed that to me. And it sounded just like this. And it was a, man, in your face, loud, brash, bright, powerful guitar. I was playing a little band in Las Cruces at the time. And everybody in that band, gosh, that was a loud guitar. You know. So, again, that showed me that it's not always the player, and a good instrument can move you to the next plateau, which that D-21 did. Now, D-21s, if you're not super familiar with them, they're a cross between an 18 and a 28, as you might figure out from the number. Everything is rosewood. The fingerboard and the bridge are rosewood, and the back and the sides are rosewood. Whereas the D-28 would have ebony on these two pieces. Let's see, this is a 63, so it's Brazilian rosewood. And this is, boys and girls, that is Brazilian rosewood right there. You know, that's the 63s, that's the good stuff still. I had a 65 for several years. A really terrific guitar. And I just, I needed money during the great upheaval. And so I sold it to a friend of mine down in Las Cruces, and I know where it lives, and you know I could probably get it back if I wanted it. But anyway, the spectacular Brazilian rosewood. Now, non-scalloped bracing. Okay, so that adds a lot of the nasaliness, the brightness, the non-boomy bass sound to it. I'm going to compare this guitar to the shop's D-28 1941 Authentic, which is the epitome of a D-28. Scallop braces, red spruce top, Madagascar rosewood back inside. And what you're going to listen for is the difference between the scallop and the non-scallop. This is non-scallop guitar. Now, by itself, non-scallop can sound really too much, you know. It's bright, it's nasally, it doesn't have that deep rumbly bass that a lot of people like. But like my bandmates notice, this thing will cut. It will cut through any jam in the world. And when you're in a jam situation with a bass player standing here, you got the bass covered right there. And what you want is a guitar that is tight sonically and bam, makes a hole. Make a hole, we're coming through. That's what this guitar does. So, you know, that you're sitting here playing it by yourself, and it might be a little bit too bright, too nasally, too compressed sounding. But when you put this sucker in a jam, I guarantee you will hear this guitar. So, what I did on this guitar, I did a complete refret with Evo frets. I did a neck reset, and I made a new bridge for it because the original bridge had already been replaced, and it was Indian rosewood. And you just don't put Indian rosewood bridges with a 1963 Brazilian rosewood guitar. So the owner and I talked about it, and I offered to make Brazilian, but I said, honestly, if it was me, I'd put a Madagascar rosewood on there because it's a little bit richer, a little bit warmer, a little bit more bassy sounding, and I think it would sound really good with this guitar. And it looks good. You could pass this off as Brazilian. You know what I mean? I mean, that's definitely not Indian rosewood. And I know it's Madagascar rosewood, but I have seen Brazilian rosewood bridges that look just like that. Probably the one distinguishing characteristic for me, if it was Brazilian, it would have it would have more pits in it. The pits are from sap, I think, but you could look at it and you would see the little pits all over the top of it. And Madagascar rosewood does not typically have that. Madagascar is a really smooth rosewood. So I could tell. I would look at that and I would suspect something, but I would also know that it was not Indian rosewood. And my guess, if I had to guess at that bridge, would be Madagascar rosewood, possibly Honduran rosewood. But I think I could maybe nail it as Madagascar. And if the guy told me that I was right, I'd be really happy. But it does look much more Brazilian than Indian rosewood does. So I did that. I had to re-glue the bridge sheet. Also, this bridge is just a little bit oversized, and that's not my fault. The bridge that I took off was a little bit oversized. Not too bad. I'm used to looking at 50s bridges, and they're thinner. And the 60s is getting a little bit fatter. But I didn't want, it was going to be really ugly. The footprint is really ugly into here. And I didn't feel like this bridge was so dramatically oversized that I really wanted to cut it down. So I went ahead and put in a bridge that's got the same footprint on it. And I cut a long through saddle, put the pins in there, did all that kind of thing. The top, of course, is Sitka spruce top. You can tell immediately by the color of it and just the way the streaks are going. Plus, it's just the age of the thing. Nothing wrong with that. Original pick guard. The braces are really nice. Go back and look at the video just prior to this where I show the interior of several guitars. And this guitar is in there. And you can see the interior of this guitar. The braces, while they're not scalloped, the braces on this guitar are pretty tapered. Which you find sometimes very inconsistently. The whole tapered Brixton thing is super inconsistent. But I look at this and I go, that's pretty tapered. It starts at the X and then it goes down and then it tapers off like this. It doesn't have a nice gradual even taper, but as it gets down to the end, it starts coming in like this. And so it goes like this and curves in. It is clearly not as non-scalloped as some other ones. I've seen some other guitars that just go straight brace the whole way until they get down to the end and then the ends roll over like this. And this one's not like that. It goes like this a little bit, and then you can see it getting thinner, and then it rolls over right at the very end. So go look at the video where I show the interior, and you can see what I'm talking about. So tapered bracing has its own sound. This kind of sound. There's a bright, punchy. I really like tapered bracing for a jam guitar, especially a stage guitar. This guitar would mic beautifully. You would really hear this guitar. But tapered bracing is good stuff. I've also got a video where I did a 70s D-18 with tapered bracing, and I compare it to a fully scalloped, and you can clearly hear the difference between the fully scalloped and the tapered on that video. So tapered bracing is something I like. I was happy to see it in this guitar. What else about this? The other interesting thing about this is when I picked this guitar up, I felt the neck, and I go, that feels a lot like the D-28 41 Authentic. And I complained about the 41 Authentic a lot because I wish it was a little bit fatter right up here at this end. And I wish this one was just a little bit fatter too. But I thought, I'm going to measure them and see how they compare because I could live with this, I wish it was a little fatter. But I'm going to measure them and see. So I measured it in 41 Authentic, and I'll throw you a little chart up at the end of this. But to cut to the chase on this, they were very close, and they were within about 10 thousandths of an inch thickness here, and I measured that with the strings on. So strings on, frets and everything. Clamp the string down to the fingerboard like that and measure it right there, just like that, so that you get the real feel of the thing under your hand. You see, there's frets on here and there's strings on here, and that's what I want to measure. I don't really care about the depth of the neck crochet. I want the real feel in my hand. And there's about 10 thousandths of an inch difference with the 41 being a little bit skinnier, but the 41 has a nicer taper up here, so this one gets considerably fatter up here in the mid-range of the neck, and you can see it. You know, you can see that the taper goes like this, and then it's almost got a pregnant bump in it right here. And there's some scarring on the back here, but that's not in it. So you can see this neck, boom, get fat here. So part is it's really pretty close to the 41 authentic. So maybe I should quit complaining about it, you know. But so there we go. Just a quick video on this guitar. I took it in because I've worked on 3 guitars for the owner, and so he's got plenty of guitars. I already know we've already established a rapport where I know what he wants and I know what he'll be happy with and all that kind of thing. So it was like, and he told me no rush on it. So I probably had it a couple months. And I worked on it pretty quick because I only had 2 guitars. That's a lot of the point of only having 2 guitars is I actually get them done fairly fast. So, all right, I'm going to play a little bit. I'm going to do the A-B business where I'm going to play this. I'm going to play the 41, D-28. And again, you're just listening for the difference between this D-28 sound over here and this D-21 sound over here. No, you're not really comparing anything other than the 2 individual guitars, so that you can hear what the strengths are for each one of them. Because I guarantee, even though your first impression might be, oh, I wish it was warmer and fuller. Well, that's not the strength of this guitar. You know what the strength is on this one is that powerful cut. So you listen to that compared to the 41, and then at the end of that, I'll probably play it a little bit like I usually do. So. Here we go.